Hey there, how's it going? I'm Sam Corbel, the founder of LightEye, and today I'd like to welcome you to the Edison Report's 6th Annual Lifetime Achievement Award Ceremony. Before we get started, let's take a look at some of the past honorees. I want to thank our judges, Donnie Wall, Paul Pompeo, and Nancy Clanton. They have given a lot of time to this project. And now we will begin the 2021 program. First up is Cheryl English. She will introduce our honoree, Shirley Cole.
Shirley Cole is the epitome of the Jane of all trades. She can literally do it all. She joined Rude Lighting Canada in 1991 when it was a privately owned company, learning all aspects of the business, from manufacturing, sales, customer service, finance, human resources, and distribution. She grew with the business through various acquisitions and mergers, and most recently Cree Ideal. She was directly involved as one of the first movers through the disruptive LED transformation, making Beta LED the top recognized brand for LED outdoor lighting. Shirley's focus is always about the people, her associates, customers, and industry partners. It's Shirley's thoughtful leadership of people that sets her apart. She has a long-standing commitment to IES, whether it's the IES Toronto section, various committee work, the Street and Area Lighting Conference, or as IES President in 2016. Shirley is an engaged contributor who makes things happen. Shirley's life has been filled with business travel. And once you travel with Shirley, you know that she loves music, traveling with her own high-quality speakers in her suitcase wherever she goes. She's been known to fly the globe to see her favorite musicians. She loves the outdoors and is very committed to her family, her husband Bob, daughter Sarah, and son Max. While Shirley has achieved great success as a business executive and industry leader, she remains a quiet, confident leader, never looking for praise and always seeking opportunities for others to succeed. And for that reason, it's my distinct honor to introduce Shirley Cole as an awardee for the Edison Report 2021 Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations, Shirley.
Thanks, Cheryl. I'm forever grateful that my lighting path crossed with yours during the work we did for the IES Board of Directors, and I feel so fortunate to have you as a friend and industry colleague. I've learned a lot from you about policy, about lighting, and about kayaking, among other things. Thank you, Edison Report, for this recognition. I'm honored to be included along with the inspiring group making up the other awardees this year. My family at home here in Toronto has for years put up with my frequent absences from work, for work and IES travel, and have always been supportive. So my love to and my thanks to my husband Bob, my daughter Sarah, and my son Max. Thanks for keeping the home fires going, and with any luck, I'll be back on the road and out of your collective hair again soon. My career has been enriched by a lot of wonderful colleagues, and I'm particularly grateful for the remarkable teams I've been able to work with in Canada and the US. And friends made through the lighting community are such a great reward. It was wonderful to see many of them last week at Light Fair in person, at least from the eyes up. I'm also very fortunate to have had the support of my employers over the years for the time and work I spent on IES, IALD, and other lighting community activities, and I'm very grateful for that. Employer support is such an important element to enable people to make our lighting community stronger. As someone who fell into lighting way back when the earth was cooling, I feel like I've had a front row seat on a great theme park ride, eventually meeting and working for years for Al Root, the great disruptor, first in his marketing methods, later with his supposedly early push to replace HID outdoor lighting with LED. There's much to learn from a guy who's willing to put his ideas on the line in the face of so many naysayers. Those heady early days of the LED revolution were especially exciting, and there's a lot more excitement to come in lighting. Just two examples. We are early on the curve of understanding the implications of light and dark on health for humans, for fauna, and for flora. And we are just starting to wake up to the inequity of the quality of lighting for at-risk neighborhoods. Much still to be learned, much still to be done. So here's to the next twist and turn on the lighting ride. Thank you.
Ron Schimmelfitting will introduce Tom Scott.
Thank you, Edison Report team, for hosting this fabulous honoree event. This year's class is rich with influencers in the lighting industry. I have the honor of introducing one of those influencers, a lighting industry advocate, champion, ambassador, the list goes on and on. That individual is none other than Thomas C. Scott. Tom and I first met in 1995 when I joined Winona Lighting. Tom had already been working in the custom lighting side of the industry since 1981. Tom has worked with almost every one of the honoree group we have assembled here. From Tom's involvement over the years with the IES and numerous other organizations to the high-profile project works with so many of you. You have all experienced Tom's professionalism, relentless level of detail in everything he's involved with. It's this passion for the lighting challenge that has made working with Tom so much fun. Many of you also know Tom on a personal level and his passion for life every day. Tom, I personally cherish all of these moments we've had over the years. With this said, it is with great pleasure to present Thomas C. Scott as one of the Edison Report's 2021 Annual Lifetime Achievement Award honorees. Tom, thanks for the fun.
Ron, thank you for your kind introduction and also your sponsorship for this honor. One of the highlights of my career has actually been working with you and for you for so many years, and also to be able to call you my friend. And thank you to Randy Reed and the Edison Report for not only for this great honor, but Randy, to you for taking the time to recognize people within the industry that have spent so much time volunteering and giving so much, including yourself. To Nancy Clanton and Paul Pompeo and Donnie Wall, who judged this year's competition, thank you very much. To all my fellow honorees this year, I'm really humbled to even be considered with all of you whom I have really followed and admired my entire career. I'm extremely lucky to have a partner, my wife Debbie, who has been my rock for the last 37 years, and whom I would like to dedicate this award. My introduction to lighting came with Armstrong selling integrated ceilings a long time ago. As part of our training, we had a full two-week lighting course where I was first introduced to the names Dave DeLora and Jim Benya and Peter Nye, all you recognize as icons within our industry. At that point, I was hooked on lighting and was very fortunate that Phil Conway, the founder of Winona Lighting, hired me to come to work, and was soon followed, Phil, with Steve Bizance, and they supported very heartily all the volunteer work that I wanted to do within the industry. As an IES and NCQLP volunteer, I've had the opportunity to work with so many great, talented, dedicated people, including so many of this year's honorees. In addition to those people, there have also been a number of other very influential people in my career, including people like Fred Oberkircher and Martin Timmings and Jody Good, and the list just goes on and on and on. I think I'm probably proudest of the work that I did with NCQLP, because what I believe that the lighting certification has done to increase the professionalism across our industry today, which is really evidenced in the fact that there are some 3,000 LCs today. And again, it is a completely voluntary credential. And as Pat Patrick so eloquently stated when I first got into lighting, you can lead, follow, or get out of the way. So as I move into my getting out of the way phase, I just want to say that lighting has been very, very good to me. Thank you.
Charles Stone will introduce Barbara Horton.
Hi, I'm Charles Stone, president of Fisher Stone, but today I'm talking about Barbara Horton. Barbara and I have known each other since her early days in New York and mine, and her service to the ILD in New York was the beginning of a long period of service in and out of the ILD, and I want to talk about that because that service to the industry is important. She went on to be president of the board on the trust with the Knuckles Fund and helped start a scholarship called the Jules Horton International Student Award. These are significant contributions. And I could talk about her success in business, but I look at it through a different lens. Over a career built on a series of successes, Barbara has helped to create and to realize the vision of what the independent lighting design profession can be. And I think she helped show us what we could be. She led by example, not only in the private practice that the Jules Horton founded, and in that she and Stephen and Teal have grown to greatness, but also in her service to and mentorship of both individual designers and perhaps the rising businesses around her. In the times when our firms have competed, her smile and kind words equally accompanied both congratulations and condolences. When you lose to a gracious and classy competitor, you gain from goodness freely given. And when you serve on a board of directors or some other committee you're not wasting your time. And she's not wasting it either. And when she makes a presentation at an industry conference, you know it's going to be well prepared and delivered with heart. Well done, Barbara. Congratulations.
Thank you, Charles. Everything you just shared about your reflection of me is really heartfelt. Yes, we've been friendly competitors for both of our careers, and it's just been an awesome ride. I said something the other day at the Light Fair that great leaders don't create followers, they make more leaders. And I think that's been in my DNA since the beginning. I was fortunate to be trained by Jules Horton and inherit opportunity in the business and take it from there. But I'm only as good as all the people around me. And I have been so blessed to have Stephen as one of the partners and Teal and the other 12 that, sit behind them that have made the company successful and grown. My role at the end, the commitment that I made to the industry is because of them. If they weren't there, I wouldn't have been able to do it. The time allotment just wouldn't be there. So I'm really grateful to all the support that the principals have always given me, and of course the design team. And it has been an awesome career in a lot of ways. I said the other night that I get my energy from other people, and I do believe that. And just, being within the IELD community and even the IES community made such a difference for me. It was part of my career development, frankly. Got to travel the world, got to meet other people from the industry that, have the same pains that we had, and who knew that? We always think the grass is greener on the other side. So that was really a wonderful experience for me. And I would just like to say thank you to you for recognizing my career for the Edison Report Lifetime Achievement Award. I think this is my third one this year, so I hope we're done. Pretty cool. But the Edison Report has been, such a valuable tool for us in understanding what's really going on in the industry. And I've really appreciated, Randy, you in particular, but your team who keeps us informed and challenges us on a lot of levels, and that has made our profession a lot richer. So thank you.
Jimmy Benno will introduce Jim Benya.
I'm Jimmy Beno, and I'm honored to nominate Jim Benya for the Edison Report Lifetime Achievement Award. I do not believe that there's an individual in our industry that has not been touched by Jim Benya's contributions. Jim has been a thought leader for 5 decades and challenged us, shaped us, and made us better. His contributions span energy codes, lighting design, and education, not to mention his musical talents that have entertained us at many industry events. Ride, Sally, Ride rings in my ears. As far back as 1975, Jim joined the IES and passionately led us to rethink energy use. Jim was involved in the California Energy Commission's Advanced Lighting Professional Advisory Committee. He was the lead consultant for PG&E Energy Center in San Francisco and the IES Regional Energy Committee. When we look at the contribution to lighting, we must first begin with Jim's mentor, Steve Scalici, who inspired him in excellence and helped him grow from junior engineer to chief electrical engineer at the Smith Group. Hollywood has its Rat Pack, and we have Lumine Suter Lighting Design, the dream team. Jim shifted his focus from engineering to lighting design under the late Fran Kellogg Smith. Jim thrived working with the dream team, Michael Suter, Jan Moyer, Naomi Miller, and the late Ross DeLacy. Together, they created award-winning work. Jim Benya Lighting Design began in 1995. He designed the first LEED Platinum K-12 school, the world's first LEED Platinum high-rise multifamily building, and 7 other LEED Platinum buildings, as well as 2 Zero Net Energy. He is a winner of over 200 regional, national, and international lighting design awards. Jim walked the walk while talking the talk. As part of Benya Burnett, he worked on the ASID headquarters, which was the world's first LEED Platinum, as well as LEED Platinum well building. The project won an IES International Award for Excellence. Jim's quality of work and desire to make lighting beautiful and responsible created a great legacy of what is possible. He did this work alongside his beautiful wife, Deborah. Most people know Jim through his writings, lectures. Lighting Design Basics was authored and co-authored 3 different revisions, becoming the industry standard. Jim has lectured extensively. His stage is international. Jim's ability to look at the future and understand what we need to do as a lighting professional and how we need to respond. His insights and relevance have crossed decades. I cannot do justice to Jim Benya's contribution to our industry, but it's probably not necessary, as we've all been touched by his brilliance, his dedication, and his service to our industry. I am blessed to consider him my friend.
Thank you, Jim. I've been very fortunate. I joined the Smith Group right out of college, and Steve Scalici, like a lot of other people, he threw me in over my head and gave me opportunities and really drove me to learn and accomplish many different things there. In the process, I met wonderful people who provided me with inspiration and brilliance. David Delora, Steve Standard, Gary Steffi, Naomi Miller, and Jan Moyer. And the late Mike Hooker, who from college inspired me as well. I got an opportunity to move to California to work in lighting design, thanks to Fran Kellogg Smith, and I had great partners. Naomi Miller, again, Jan Moyer, again, Michael Suter, one of the best partners anybody could ever want, and the late Ross DeLacy. We did well. And after that, I had an opportunity to leave and check out Oregon, moved there for a few years, worked with Earl Levin, Mike Larson, Ella Mills, and Galina Zabrizer out of British Columbia. We did some really good work. And this was the growth of into the era of LEED. I also had a chance to work with a number of people in industry. I worked with Acuity Brands in developing their lighting education center, the McClung Center. I worked with Lutron, Terry Clark and Jerry Mix, Jack Zuckerman, and Jim Lee. I got an opportunity to move back to California with Deborah and start our consulting business, which is trying to do more expert work and educational stuff. I also want to thank Charles Lynn and Architectural Lighting Magazine for giving me an opportunity to become a writer, which I really enjoy. My community work particularly has generally been on behalf of IES and IALD. These organizations phenomenally important to me. And our international work, I got to know many people overseas speaking at PLDC in Europe and at IES Australia and New Zealand. It's been a wonderful community, getting to know so many people and to do so much work with everybody. And I really appreciate the many opportunities and the recognition. Thank you very much. Jim Lee and Edison Reports.
Steve Brown will discuss the late Danny Lewis's contributions.
Hello, I'm Steve Brown, CEO of Bill Brown Sales and ALP. I had the great fortune when I entered the lighting business of working with some giants, who were truly foundational parts of our industry. Danny Lewis was one of those pillars. With a chemical engineering background, Danny began his lighting journey around 1950, working for both Tiger Plastics and representing KSH to the specification community in New York. In 1956, Danny established RLR Industries. Danny's combination of engineering and design were instrumental in the development of the decorative fluorescent category. It's rare I enter a home, apartment, or hotel that doesn't have lenses manufactured or influenced by RLR. It was truly an honor to work with and represent Danny. He combined a quiet, gentle nature and warm sense of humor with a competitive fire. While there's so much I can say, I thought it was more appropriate for another pillar, someone who actually knew Danny when he worked at Tiger Plastics, to complete this introduction. My father, Bill Brown.
Thank you very much for this extraordinary privilege. I had the honor of working with Danny Lewis at Tiger Plastics when I originally started Bill Brown Sales in 1955. Subsequently, Danny went on to develop RLR, and as he laughingly would say, he would come to town to Chicago to sell RLR parts, and when he left, I would quietly go back and reinstate RLR at Tiger Plastics as the right brand to stay with. In any case, that following year, Danny called me and said, "Bill, would you like to represent RLR?" And I said, "Danny, I would love to represent RLR." And from then, for many years, we started the relationship. In fact, Stuart, I remember staying at Danny's house in New York, and Stuart, who was 6 years old, came over to find out who was this stranger living in his house. And now they are the seniors who are responsible for the RLR brand. And I'm very proud to be a part of that. And I'm also proud to be an original member of the Lifetime Achievement Awards, so that I really feel this is an honor both for Danny's memory and for me. Thank you very much.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much to Steve and Bill for the wonderful thoughts. Our families certainly have a long-lasting relationship that has encompassed past, present, and future generations for many years to come. Hi, I'm Stuart Lewis, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at RLR Industries Incorporated, Danny's son. First off, I wish to thank Edison Report for bestowing this honor on our dad. To be included in such company as past and present honorees is a wonderful honor, and he would have been so happy to have been recognized by all of his peers. Danny was a long-standing member of the IES, very active in the local New York and Long Island sections for many years. As Stephen and Bill told us, Danny, a trained chemical engineer, got to start working for his plastics company in engineering who happened to manufacture lighting diffusers. Simultaneously, Danny did moonlight as a sales engineer for KSH, helping write and implement specifications for the eastern part of the United States, where plastics just started to become accepted and innovative lighting medium. Danny decided to take his knowledge and a leap of faith and started to focus further on lighting with the establishment of the first firm focused on design, engineering, and production of shaped lenses and diffusers for luminaires, RLR Industries Incorporated. And we continue to operate to this day in Metro Atlanta, Georgia, providing lens component solutions to luminaire manufacturers. Danny became an expert in formed commercial lens design and engineering throughout the 1960s. In the following decades, he further expanded his expertise in assisting various luminaire manufacturers in developing many residential and multifamily luminaires, and was at the forefront of what we see today in linear luminous residential lighting products. This continued into the 21st century, where he started to experiment with LEDs in his office in New York and foresaw the new form factors and possibilities that LEDs would be able to provide the lighting community. He enjoyed interacting with his customers, developing custom items with them, and solving design and engineering issues. Nothing pleased him more than to see his customers have sustained and continued success. I could say he would be extremely grateful and humbled by the recognition by his peers. He truly appreciated the industry and cherished the relationships he had over the years with all of his colleagues. And a final, most important thanks has to go to his wife, my mom, Arlene. Like many others, she held the fort down and helped raise 4 kids, while Danny needed to take to the road or take to the skies or wherever to pursue his dreams and build this company. This honor is as much as a testament to her as for her lifelong support of Danny and his family. Again, sincere thanks to everybody for bestowing this honor upon Danny.
Teal Brogdon will introduce the great and famous Stephen Lees.
I'm pleased to introduce Stephen Lees as the honoree of the EdisonReport's Lifetime Achievement Award. Stephen was drawn to the profession by the magic of working with light. For HLB, our clients, and the industry, he worked his magic on so many levels. As the firm grew, he applied his curiosity and passion equally to the excellence of lighting design and to the rigor of business excellence. His projects were beautiful to behold, with inspiring daylight pulling you along your architectural journey, and his Excel spreadsheets were a thing of beauty, yielding multi-dimensional diagrams that rendered complex data sets into readily comprehensible decision-making tools for the team. In this way, he gifted his talents to each and every member of the firm, creating an environment where multiple generations of designers drawn to the magic of light could thrive. The single greatest issue during Stephen's tenure was to ensure that the magic lighting wand we all treasure could be wielded by so many of us at HLB and through his leadership in the profession as a whole. The story doesn't end there. Stephen continues to demonstrate leadership and generosity of spirit in his continued efforts to enable the profession to flourish, spreading the magic of light. A few of the amazing projects that Stephen helped bring to life were the Washington National Airport, the Phillips Exeter Academy Art Gallery, both of those projects having important daylighting aspects, and most especially using the magic of light to commemorate the heroes of World War II at the World War II Memorial.
Well, thank you, Teal. Thank you for nominating me for this prestigious award and for your kind words. As we know, it takes a village to achieve something that's really significant. And so I have a long list of thanks that I have to give as well. First one is to theater, to dramatic arts, where I started and where my roots are. Thank you for being such a great environment for learning about lighting purely as a media and how it works. And thank you to theater for it being such a high demand and low wage endeavor, so that I eventually decided to leave it. Upon leaving it, then I have to thank Jules Horton for being my mentor and for hiring me back in 1976. And then again in 1984, when he offered that I become his partner. That was a significant decision on my part, and obviously I sought counsel from a number of people, including another person I have to thank you, which is Joel Siegel, who after a long lunch and my commiserating about whether I should accept Jules' offer or not, said, well, why wouldn't you give it a try? And so I did. And then, of course, lots of thanks to Barbara for being an inspiring partner in business and in life, and being the yin to my yang, and sometimes the yang to my yin at other times. I think we had a great relationship, or have a great relationship, and paired well to try to achieve things that we did. And a thank you to my children, who probably may have liked to see more of me when I was growing up. You'll have to ask them, but certainly they tolerated my absences and sensed the passion that I was pursuing. Then I also want to thank all the people who passed through the HLB doors, including principals who challenged the status quo and helped propel great work, incredible growth, and healthy profitability, even in the most difficult years. And to the rest of everybody else who passed through the doors for breathing life into my dream. I'd also want to thank the current principals for continuing the HLB legacy as it evolves.
Megan Carroll will introduce Chip Israel.
Hi, my name is Megan Carroll, and I'm the president of the IES NYC here in New York City, which Chip has never been a part of. It's probably one of the one things he's never joined because he's never lived in New York City. And you might wonder why someone like me in New York City is introducing Chip, because we've never had the opportunity to work together. We are in different professions in the industry, but Chip always made time wherever he was to listen, to talk, to coach, to mentor. And in that regard, I have this distinct pleasure of introducing Chip as a Lifetime Achievement Award recipient of the Edison Report. When I first reached out to Chip to talk to him about this opportunity, he wasn't in the office. He wasn't on the boat either. I don't know where he had been. He was up in the Sierras collaborating with his peers, with his competitors, on how to create the next philanthropic teaching tool for our industry, which is typically what Chip does. He looks to create better, he looks to create more, he looks to leave a very positive, educated, and robust legacy, and he already has. Chip's time is finite and limited, but regardless, he has found the time, taken the time, is driven to look at every detail, every concept, every drawing that passes his desk. But knowing that at some point it was time for him to let go, because if you want to grow, you have to let go. Chip learned to delegate more and trust more. And through that, he's built a large portfolio of work at the hands of his very talented design staff. Whether they are in the West Coast area or across the world, he is educated and taught and mentored and pushed in the right way so that people can engage and do their own, do their best. He's always been inspirational, and he's always worked very hard at his craft, a role model for many of us. And as I said, although I never worked with Chip directly, he would find time to bend down and listen, to be an equal, to listen to whatever concept or idea or question I might have as our paths cross throughout the industry, which is a wonderful thing about this industry. He has designed significant projects and less architecturally significant projects, but each one gets the same care, the same time, the same attention to detail that is one of Chip's hallmarks. And as he takes the time with his projects, he takes that same time with his people. And so I would like to now turn it over to Chip Siegel and say, thank you, Chip, for being in my sphere in a very limited capacity, but nonetheless, you left quite an impression, and it really is an honor. Congratulations, Chip.
Wow, Megan, I don't know what I can say. You've already said everything more than I probably deserve, and I want to thank you personally. I also want to thank Randy for pulling this together, and I want to thank everybody for listening, because that's part of the lighting family that's really made our industry great. I look at the list of the honorees, and I honestly don't feel worthy. I mean, I look at these people, and they were some of my inspiration, my mentors, and I really hope that together and collectively we can do that for the next generation. That's been part of my past, and I really want to dig into that a little bit and share a little bit. Our family was small. I remember things like my grandfather, who built a furniture company, went through a bankruptcy, rebuilt the company, and then went back and repaid all of his creditors, even though he didn't have to. And I kind of quizzed him as a young kid, and he basically said, that's the right thing to do. And that's kind of the motto we've tried to live by, always trying to do the right thing. Sometimes it's not popular. And we have parents that work both very, very hard, and we had a great lifestyle. Okay, we didn't do lavish vacations. We had a great family, and they were some of the support group that as we grow, we try to influence our family. And then as my lighting education grew, I remember Craig Bernicker, people that are still around, and he taught me lighting engineering. Okay, and then at Lutron, my first employment, a man named Howard Branson came in and did a lunch talk. And he asked questions like, what color is your shadow outside? And he started me thinking about what I missed about the design side of things. And I was lucky enough to work for one of the fabulous guys, Ray Grinaud, in the industry. And he taught me how to see and how to really do lighting design, not just the technical side. And then our influences were people like Leslie Wheel, unfortunately passed away decades ago. I think the second time I met her was at a local DLF presentation, and she ended up nominating me for president. Okay. And that was Leslie. She always nominated everybody else and things, but it was so rewarding because she got us involved. And then she, nominated me for IALD West Coast regional person. And I wasn't even a member. So I remember Lee Waldron, all these people are part of our family, and coming to me and say, okay, we got to join and you got to get involved. And even Fred Overkirker, who kind of pushed me into the IES and the management type of things. But all of these people, that and the fact that we said yes and did get involved in this volunteering aspect of it, it grew this family, people that we can count on, people that we can collaborate with. And it's really what made my career rewarding, but also educational along the way. And I tell everybody, by volunteering, you get more than you give. And I can really attest that that truly is the facts. And finally, I want to thank, all of our family and friends. As IES Vice President, I traveled around, I think, to 80 different cities. I couldn't have done that without my family supporting me, but more importantly, our staff picking up the load and carrying things on. And we hope to do that with the next generation within our company here too. And finally, my true family, Lisa and our kids. I probably have 7 million frequent flyer miles. And with COVID, we really learned that family time is important. And I may not have realized that while we were doing all the traveling. So I kind of apologize to my family, but more importantly, I hope that this is an inspiration to them, that as they already are doing, they continue to work hard, grow, but more importantly, do what they love to do, because then it will make them happy, but more importantly, it can give back to other people too. So with that, thank you very much, and I feel totally honored with this. Thank you.
Eric Lind will now introduce Jim Yorgey.
Hello, my name is Eric Lind, and I'm here today to introduce Jim Yorgey. Jim has been a champion his entire career, a champion for Lutron, for the field of lighting control, education, as well as giving back to the industry. When he started at Lutron in 1974, the world of lighting controls was in its infancy, and to many was either a rotary dimmer or a dimming panel in the back of a theater. Jim's commitment to his company and the industry helped fill in the gap between those two extremes. He worked in engineering to develop new products, especially in the sector of energy management, where he has a patent to his name. He worked in sales to not only find new markets for the company, like opening up our first international office in London, but more importantly, finding new applications for lighting controls. His commitment to the IES has spanned over 6 decades and has involved a wide array of committees, like energy management, progress, video conference, and he now sits on the Knuckles Fund board. In my tenure with both Lutron and the IES, Jim has always been the benchmark for being the subject matter expert in the field of lighting controls and committing time to teaching others. He has parlayed that to becoming a member of the faculty at Parsons School of Design. Jim was a mentor for many in our company, including me, and the industry. He never shied away from answering a difficult technical question or volunteering to get involved when asked to help. He always put the customers and his peers first, providing an invaluable service that has often been behind the scenes. Jim was always the gracious host of the Lutron Suite at numerous IES conferences, keeping the bar open until all had been served. Music has always been a passion of Jim's as well, where he has played at numerous industry events and has been involved locally in the Lehigh Valley at his church and the Allentown Symphony, where his wife Ellen played. He is now deeply entrenched in retirement, enjoying his extended family that includes several grandchildren. I am honored today to be introducing him for the Edison Report Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thanks, Eric. I really appreciate that introduction. It's interesting to hear how your life can be said in so many great ways. I also want to thank Edison Reports for them to provide this great Lifetime Achievement Award. There's a lot I need to be thankful for as well. It starts, of course, with my family, as Eric mentioned. My wife, Ellen, who has, for many years been patient with me as I traveled around the country and around the world. And of course, our sons, we have 4 sons that have either been involved directly at Lutron or are involved in lighting in some way. Somehow they followed the areas that I've been involved in through the years. In particular, I want to be important to mention the people at Lutron that have supported me through the years and mentored me. It starts, of course, with Mr. Spira, Joel Spira, who was the founder of Lutron and has provided many encouragement elements to my life in terms of, in particular, taking care of the customer, which is always very, very important to him. And there's so many other people at Lutron, including Eric, that have, through the years, provided mentoring to me. And hopefully I have provided some of that mentoring to others throughout Lutron and, of course, throughout the industry. Speaking of the industry, there are so many friends that I have in the industry, and it's really about people. That's one of the most important things to me, was the people in the industry. And what was great in the past week or so is the ability to meet those people firsthand at Light Fair, which was a couple weeks ago, and after 2 years of not being able to see people directly. The other recipients of this award, on the most part, are people that I've grown up with in the industry through my lifetime in the industry. And what I want to talk about really is the opportunity that was afforded to me through the years. I started literally out of high school and college in this industry and have been blessed with the ability to grow in the industry. My opportunity of traveling internationally was incredible, something I hadn't envisioned as a young person, and it really opens your eyes, and I've always encouraged other people to have that international experience. The one thing that has happened in this industry is technology change, and we've gone from incandescent to fluorescent to CFL and then to LED. And throughout that time, I've learned a lot of skills. Some of those have become obsolete, and it's important to remember that as one skill becomes obsolete, you have to gain new ones. And I encourage people certainly to continue to learn and improve. And that's one of the things. I've spent 46 years learning and mentoring, and the thing is, I want to continue to be involved in some way in the industry because it is constant change, it's constant excitement, and I really appreciate this opportunity, this award that I've been receiving. Thank you very much.
Rich Shaver will introduce honoree Joel Siegel.
Hi, I'm Rick Shaver. I first met Joel 46 years ago in 1975 when he was a sales engineer for Holophane. I was a new and inexperienced lighting designer at Joseph Flooring Associates, and I learned to rely heavily on Joel's expertise for some of my projects. He was generous with his knowledge and time, and I would look forward to collaborating with him. When Joel joined Lightolier a few years later, I was disappointed that he was not my designated salesperson, but he assured me that I could call him anytime with questions. And I did. For the next year, our collaboration continued in a unique way. After my Lightolier salesperson left my office, I would phone Joel to discuss what I had just learned and to get his opinion. I refer to our conversations as getting the real story. Those conversations continued until I joined Edison Price Lighting in 1980. Early in my career at EPL, during one of my many lunches with Edison, I recounted the story about my collaboration with Joel. I remember Edison nodding with approval, yet it would be nearly 3 years before Joel's name came up again. One day, out of the blue, Edison said, "We should hire that friend of yours from Lightolier who only tells the truth." And that was how Edison Price Lighting, 38 years ago, found its vice president of sales and marketing. I have known Joel all of my professional life. He continues to inspire me and inspires those who work with him. He makes us all better. It is my privilege to introduce Joel Siegel, winner of the 2021 Edison Report Lifetime Achievement Award. No one is more deserving, and he still only tells the truth.
I'd like to thank the committee for this honor. I thank Rick, my sponsor and longtime friend. Most importantly, I'd like to thank all the customers, suppliers, reps, and colleagues I have met in the span of my career. I started my professional career life at Holophane as an application engineer and eventually went into marketing and sales. I still remember when I was first hired at Holophane, my first job at a lighting company. I was only 22 years old and a lousy draftsman, but I was chosen out of 26 applicants. And when I asked why I won the role, I was told, "You're the only one who did not ask about the retirement plan." After Holophane, I moved to Lightolier as the architectural sales specialist for the New York City market, and then Edison Price Lighting as the head of sales and marketing. With degrees in electrical engineering, physics, marketing, and finance, I was not the typical type of salesperson. In all three companies, I received the largest single orders they ever had. My goal was to learn, and the best source was my customers. I have witnessed many changes in the industry, but time and again, I've relied heavily on the support of the people around me. In the same way, there is a team of people behind the success of every single person. Many years in the industry has shown me a simple rule: the beauty of man-made space is great by lighting. So again, I'd like to thank my customers, specifiers, suppliers, reps, contractors, and distributors, and all the people who have been very important and helpful in my career. I thank all of you for a wonderful and beautiful experience.
Lance Bennett will introduce Naomi Miller.
It is my privilege to be able to introduce Naomi Miller as one of the winners of the 5th annual 2021 Edison Report Lifetime Achievement Awards. And while I hope my introduction will be brief, Naomi's contributions and impact on the lighting industry and profession have been anything but brief. Naomi started her full-time journey in lighting in 1978 when she joined Smith Henchman & Grills, today known as the Smith Group, after receiving her BS from MIT in architecture. Little did the industry know that Naomi and a small number of other incredibly talented individuals were about to change our industry forever as they pioneered the field of lighting design within a large MEP firm, and in Detroit nonetheless. Naomi spent the first 10 plus years of her career honing her skills, practicing and perfecting lighting design, first in Detroit and then in San Francisco. In 1993, Naomi decided to add to her already vast practical knowledge of lighting by pursuing her master's in lighting at RPI's Lighting Research Center and begin her formal journey as a lifetime educator, researcher, and inspirational leader. Long before the industry was talking about LEED, WELL, circadian, or human-centric lighting, and many other terms that we now use on a daily basis, Naomi was studying and, more importantly, sharing her knowledge and understanding of the impact lighting has on the environment and the well-being of humans and critters. During and after her time at RPI, Naomi continued to share her knowledge to her students at RPI, her clients in her private lighting practice, and to the whole lighting industry as a frequent contributor at trade shows such as Light Fair and technical and industry conferences such as the IES and IELD, and in numerous publications. In 2009, Naomi joined the Department of Energy's PNNL, Pacific Northwest National Lab, as senior lighting researcher, where she has continued to champion the adoption of energy efficient and high quality lighting. As mentioned, Naomi has published too many scientific papers and design articles on lighting quality, lighting metrics, design guidelines, to even begin to try to name them all. In addition, Naomi has long been recognized by both the IES and the ILD as a fellow within their organizations, and she has served in many volunteer roles within the IES on technical committees as well as the board of the society. I cannot think of anyone more deserving of this Lifetime Achievement Award, as Naomi has touched and inspired so many of us within the industry. And apart from all the degrees and publications, the one thing that I most admire about Naomi is that she has a unique talent to be able to take complex and complicated topics and with equal comfort speak to those of us that have a very basic understanding as well as those of us that are deeply knowledgeable. Without any further ado, please let me introduce the Queen of Flicker, the Ambassador of Lighting Quality, Naomi Miller.
Lance, that was an incredible testimonial. Thank you very much. I'm very flattered. And yes, some people call me the Queen of Flicker, some with affection, some not so much. I am really humbled to be receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award, and I realize it primarily means I'm old now. But secondly, it gives me some confidence that what I've done over the last 40 plus years has made a little bit of a difference out there. So I have a list here of things that I want to say, and the first one is that I've been so lucky. I came out of architecture school. I couldn't afford to go to graduate school in architecture, so I went to work in Detroit where my parents were living. And I was hired by Steve Scolacci, who became the IES president. Very inspirational. He had put together the first lighting engineering group, I think, in the country or very close to it. And I met all kinds of fabulous people, all of whom were straddling the line between design and engineering. And that turned out to be exactly where I needed to be. So it was accident, and a very serendipitous accident. So from Steve Scolacci's early training and passion and inspiration that got me going, my interest going in lighting, I ended up working with a whole series of fantastic people. So I'll just name a few of them. Peter Nye at Peerless Lighting, when I was working there, taught me so much about photometry and calculations and also about design and how important it was to make spaces feel uplifting and visually comfortable. And I worked with Lumini Suter Lighting, and I ended up spending time with Jen Moyer and Jim Benya, who taught me so much about design and the visual environment. Then I was at the Lighting Research Center in Troy and ended up taking classes from people like Peter Boyce and Mark Ray and learning so much more about human factors and about research methods. But at the same time, I was working with other researchers through IES committees, other researchers like Jennifer Veach and people like Cheryl English, who had all of that research background, but was able to apply it to very practical issues like outdoor lighting, responsible lighting. Nancy Clanton, and I made lifelong friends with all of these people, most especially Terry McGowan, who is still one of my closest friends. And we just love to talk nerdy with each other. It's a great thing. We can call each other up and say, I don't understand this. Can you help me? It is just terrific. Then recently, where I've moved to P&L, I've encountered other people who have taught me a lot. I can list Michael Royer, Steve Fodios, Bruce Kinsey, Arnold Wilkins. All these people are teaching me about glare and flicker, and oh gosh, there's so much to learn in this field. Really, I have to thank the IES, the ILD, and the CIE. I've learned that when you participate on a committee, even if you're not the smartest person in the room, which is always the case when I'm in the room, you learn from other people and you get to know them, and you realize that you have resources that you can call if you have questions, and that's the other people. All of these organizations and people inspired my passion in lighting, and it's helped me focus my efforts on energy efficiency, lighting quality, teaching, learning, inspiration, and more than anything else, friendship. So I thank the Edison Report for giving me this award, and I'm very pleased and humbled to be accepting it. Thank you. Thank you, Randy, especially.
And that concludes the formal part of this presentation. At this point in time, I'd like to turn it over to Randy Reed so that he can open the floor.